I don't know what is going on with my technology. It is acting all the way up, but we're going to keep this baby rolling because we ain't going to stop. What I'd like to do is start all over because this conversation is really, really important. Having a close relationship with the people that are closest to you, making sure that that relationship is not just healthy for yourself, but also healthy for other people is super, super important. So I want to make sure that we are doing that. So in the meantime, let's play our theme music and get this started all over again. I think we're going to have a better time this time around. Let's go. Yes, I'm super, super excited to have this conversation. So let us get into it because this is a super important conversation to have. I feel like people are not always cognizant to the levels of relationships and what they can mean for you in your life. So without any further ado, let me just welcome you to my live stream because this is where creatives, visionaries, innovators, coaches, and entrepreneurs, those of you I call authentically distinct folks, people like you and me, we come together and we focus on being our authentic selves. That's how we get to greater joy, impact for ourselves and those we touch with our unique capabilities, our gifts, our talents, and our abilities. And today we're going to be talking about how you can develop and harness authentic relationships with those who are closest to you, because that is how you benefit from authentic connections with your loved ones. And as I am your guide to power, agency, and freedom today, let me introduce myself. I am Ebony L. Green of Authentic Distinction, where I help authentically distinct and neurodistinct folks develop deeper connections and impact in their life, their career, their business, without compromising their authenticity, their desires, and their values. I am the only certified life and business coach who teaches you how to use authenticity to create actionable safe spaces for yourself and others. And I do this by guiding you to make sense of the greatness in your head. I know how confusing that can be. It's just all in there and it just wants to come out. And I'm not going to judge your truth, your worth, or your creativity as we are clarifying all of that greatness so that you can get it out of your head. That's what I call bringing your ass, getting yourself to an actionable safe space. That is how you grow, shine, and do the most. I am unapologetically known as the Ratchet Sage because I am not playing with your greatness. For real, for real. I refuse to see you ashy out here in these streets. I want you to know your impact has the capacity to be distinct, and therefore you are extremely valuable and will be sought after. But that's only going to happen if you end up in an actionable safe space so that you can shine in your authenticity and your unique capabilities. And that is the core of my work, teaching you how to develop clarity, confidence, and resilience in what makes you authentic so that you'll have the ability to create actionable safe spaces everywhere you go for scaled impact. That is super, super important. What are we talking about today? Today, we're going to discuss what it takes to have healthy relationships with those people who are closest with you so that you can be and feel right in your connections with your loved ones. Because having healthy relationships with those closest to you is the only way to ensure you develop the muscles it takes to have healthy community and professional relationships with other people. So you might as well learn how to do this. It all starts with how you handle and manage your close personal relationships. So let's get clear on how you can live and love with those closest to you. I want you to think about your relationships with those who are closest to you. And I want you to think about what comes up for you. Drop a comment in the chat and let me know your thoughts on this. And while y'all do that, I'm going to share with y'all my thoughts as I check what's going on in the chat. Let me see what we got going on here. And I also want to give y'all the link to my slides so y'all will be able to follow along and get the resources from today's conversation. All right, let's see. Oh, got too much going on, opening up too many things. All right, so back to what I was doing. All right, y'all. So what I know about this conversation is that with regard to those people who are closest to you, you want to believe that you know exactly how to treat those who are closest to you and that they will know how to treat you. But that just doesn't happen on its own. And I find that in my work as a coach that most clients think that as long as they like those closest to them, they're going to have a healthy relationship with those people. But this is a huge misconception. And if you stick around, you'll understand why I'm saying that. And in my work training transformational coaches and impact-based entrepreneurs, I find that most new and experienced business owners, they all think that they must have a healthy, close relationships with people because they have a successful business. But this is not true either. To be clear, having authentic, healthy relationships with those people who are closest to you in your life, your career, and your business, that is the way to go. But I don't want you to discount what I'm about to share with you. You will have close relationships in your life, your career, and your business, and they will not look the same, but they will feel the same. They should anyway. Your clarity, confidence, and your close relationships both your clarity and your confidence in your close relationships is going to dictate your resilience in your life, your career, and your business. And your relationships with those closest to you is all about boundaries and reciprocity. And if you stick around, you'll understand why I stand 10 toes down in these statements. It's super important because this confusion surrounding your relationship with those closest to you is at the root of what we're discussing today. If you don't know how to develop authentic connections with those closest to you, how can you get right in your relationships with others who are not as close to you? That's what we're trying to get into today. So today I'll be breaking all of this down for you. Let's start by getting into why your relationships with those closest to you will not look the same from life to career to business, but how they will feel the same nonetheless. All right? So, your close personal relationships, like I hinted at, are for your life, your career, and your business. It's not just something that you're only going to have in life or in your career and your entrepreneurship. What I find is that people think that close personal relationships are only for their life. Like, I'm only going to have a close personal relationship in my life. No, some of the most healthy, transformative relationships I've had in my life have come from people I've met through my career and in my entrepreneurship. But the way those relationships were close and personal when I met them in my entrepreneurship became different when they became really, really close to me in my life, like the kind of close where I would bring my son over their house. That might have been someone who I had a close personal relationship with in business or back in the day when I had a career. But now the relationship is shifted into a close personal relationship in our life, and it looks very, very different. So your relationships, your close personal relationships with these people may look different as it transverses between life, career, and entrepreneurship. But trust me, it's going to hit the same. It's going to feel the same because a close personal relationship always feels the same no matter how it enters into your life. So these are the truths about close personal relationships. Your clarity on what you want in a close personal relationship will help other people decide whether or not they want to fuck with you. But your confidence in what you want in close personal relationships will help you handle their unwillingness to fuck with you. Because quite frankly, when you know what you want in a close personal relationship, there's always going to be people out there who are like, nah, that's not for me. And that's okay. It'll give them an opportunity to decide that they don't need to fuck with you, right? But when you are confident in what you want in a close personal relationship, you stand 10 toes down in it. It's something that you feel confident defending. This is what I want. I feel no problems with it. I'm unapologetic about it. That allows you to handle when other people are like, yeah, I'm cool on you. I'm really, really cool on you because I would like you to be and do something different. And you're like, no, I stand 10 toes down in who I be and what I do, so I wouldn't have it any other way. You feel confident in it. And so it allows you to handle other people who are not willing to deal with you. Only you have access to what you want in a close personal relationship. So I want you to stand 10 toes in what you want. But I also want you to understand that people have their own desires and they're going to choose and act according to those. So they will have their own desires about what they want in a close personal relationship. So you care about what you want and they care about what they want. And this can create an experience where nobody gets what they want because everybody is focused on what they want and not what the other person wants. But this is where resonance comes in. Resonance is super, super important. So let's explore close personal relationships so that we can get into how you can find that resonance. At the first level of close personal relationships, it's always about you. The personal level, or that first level of a relationship, even a relationship with other people, this first level of close personal relationships with other people, is the personal level. And it's about your desire. Your desire is the foundation for what you will have, what you will allow for, and what you will choose in your close personal relationships. Your desire is the part of you that be, right? The part of you that exists and that cannot be touched by the outside world. So what I want you to consider is, are you clear and confident in the desires you have that relate to the close personal relationships you want in your life, in your career, and in your business? Because if you're not clear and confident in the desires you have, you don't have a clear concept of this personal level of your relationships with other people who are closest to you. You will have desires, and those desires are going to impact those people who are closest to you. You're going to have expectations, or at the very least, desires of them that relate to your boundaries. And at the end of the day, if you are not clear and confident in those desires, you're getting hit with them, they're getting hit with them, and it's not a solid foundation for a close personal relationship. So it's really important that you clear up this first level. And so we really want to get clear in your desire, right? Because with or without clarity in your desires, you're going to get into close personal relationships. So you might as well get clarity in your desires, because when you're in close personal relationships and you don't know what you want, it's dirty for you, it's dirty for them, it's just ashy all around. So here's the lotion. Know what you desire so that you can tell if that's what you're getting and what you're giving. Okay, I talked a little bit earlier about boundaries and reciprocity. You can't be trying to get something that you are not willing to give. That is not how life works. So I want you to know what you desire so that you can tell whether or not you are getting it and giving it in your close personal relationships. And I don't want you to allow other people to tell you what you want. They do not have access to your desires, so they don't know what you want. Only you have access to your desires. So if you want to know what you want, you go inside and find that out. Other people might be gifted at guiding you to what you want within you. I'm gifted at that, and I do that with my clients all the time. But no one can tell you what you want, and I certainly never tell my clients what they want. I listen to them and mirror back to them what they are saying so that they can hear it and act on it. All right. So this second level is all about your relationship with your internal self. It's an intrapersonal level. And when it comes to close personal relationships, the most important relationship that you're going to have with yourself is through your boundaries. It is through your relationship with your boundaries that other people are going to be able to see what you desire in close personal relationships that you seek from them. This is what is key here. If you're not clear and confident in what you allow for and accept in the close personal relationships that you have in your life, in your career, and in your business, they will not be clear in what you allow for and accept. And they certainly can't be confident in whether or not they are willing to go along with that ride. So it's really, really important that you are clear and confident in what you allow for and accept in the close personal relationships in your life, in your career, in your business, so that other people have an opportunity to decide whether or not your boundaries work for them. Because keep in mind, your boundaries are for you. They're not made for other people. So when you put up a boundary, you're saying, this is how I choose to be in my life. This is what I choose to do in my life. And other people are either going to go along with that. It's either going to work for them or it's not going to work for them. But at the end of the day, they have the right to choose, and you have the right to accept. Because I can tell you, with or without acceptance, you're going to get into close personal relationships. So you might as well get into close personal relationships with the capacity to accept. And I don't mean you are accepting whatever is happening to you. I mean that you accept what is truly happening, whether it's what you want or not, because it's happening. You can't do anything about it if you don't accept that it is happening. And you certainly can't make any changes to get what you want. So accept what is truly happening, whether it's what you want or not, so that you can change what does not serve your life, your career, or your business. You can't even mine for what isn't serving your life, your career, your business if you don't even accept the reality that is here. So make sure you bring your acceptance when you get into close personal relationships, and make sure you're accepting what is truly happening so that you can discern and decide what you're finna do about it. And that's also why networking and connection is so important. Because honestly, you are going to struggle to navigate and engage in meaningful networking if you don't have clear desires. This is in your life, your career, and your business. And if you don't have meaningful networking, you're going to end up with a lack of joyful connection. That's just it. You can do all the networking you want. You can be meeting so many amazing people. They're just blowing your world. You blowing their mind. All this kind of crazy stuff is happening. But at the end of the day, if the networking is not meaningful, you will not have joyful connections. And even when it feels joyful and it feels meaningful, you will not know it is joyful and meaningful unless you evaluate. And you need to do that continuously. So if networking isn't meaningful, it will not lead to close personal relationships. And if connection isn't joyful, it will not sustain a close personal relationship. So make sure you're continuously evaluating your networking efforts and your connections for alignment with your desires and your authenticity. Because otherwise you won't have meaningful networking and you won't have joyful connections. So that's what I want you to know about this second level. But baby, this third level, people skip this third level so much. This is the interpersonal relationship level in terms of your close personal relationships. Your interpersonal level is all about how these close personal relationships with other people directly relate to your growth. This is your growth in your life, your growth in your career, and your growth in your business. And these relationships are going to offer you diversity. But only if you are included. If you're not included, there will be no diversity that you will get from these relationships. And similarly, they are going to offer diversity, right? If you're included, you're going to offer diversity. And if they are included, they will offer diversity. So whatever is missing from your life, your career, or your business, you want to think about how you can use and leverage your close personal relationships to be a solve for that. That is what is key here. So if you're not clear and confident in the diversity and inclusion within the close personal relationships in your life, in your career, and in your business, just forget about it. You're not going to be able to have the kind of growth that you want in close personal relationships, whether they're for your life, your career, or your business. This is why this third level is super, super important. So let's get into diversity and inclusion. When I talk about diversity and inclusion, I'm not talking about getting some brown people at the table. I'm not talking about getting some women at the table or some members of the LGBTQIA community into your at the table. That's not what I'm talking about. Diversity is ensuring that you have close personal relationships that fill in the gaps of your capacities, your capabilities, and your knowledge. And chances are you're going to need some ethnic sprinkling and some cultural sprinkling in order for you to fill in the gaps of your capacities, right? And of your capabilities and your knowledge. People are going to have different knowledge bases if they have a different journey than you, if they've lived in different places and if they've experienced different things. People are going to have a different capacity to be things and absorb things and do things in this world than you have if they have been exposed to different things than you have in your life. And similarly, people are going to have different capabilities based upon what they've had the capacity and the potential and what people have given them the opportunity to be and do. That is where you build capabilities. And so being around people who have had different experiences, different backgrounds, different journeys is really, really useful in order for you to fill in the gaps of your own capacities, capabilities, and knowledge. And if your close personal relationships do not offer true diversity, you're not going to be resilient in them for your life, your career, your business. They'll show up, they'll pop in and out, and they won't be long lasting. But when you actually are mindful about diversity and inclusion, when you create close personal relationships, you'll start to realize that there's a reason why I'm super close with this person. There's a reason why I fucks with this person. There's a reason why I keep collaborating with this person. This seems to work. And you'll know why it works. You'll understand what that person's boundaries are and how you reciprocate them. You'll understand how they will engage with your boundaries and how they reciprocate yours. And this is why it's really important for you to get comfortable with including what and whomever is different that will increase your authentic resilience. You're out here trying to do big things. I know you are, because you're an authentically distinct person, or you wouldn't have ended up on my channels, in my social media streets. You wouldn't have ended up in my neighborhood in these social media streets if you didn't have a big vision somewhere within inside of you. And you're not going to get there without engaging with people who can add bits and pieces to your world that weren't there before. So if you're only engaging with people who look like you, move like you, believe like you, you're not going to have the diversity and inclusion for you to grow. And that's what this is about. So the hard truths that you can learn from all three of these levels is that at the end of the day, it's going to be somebody else's mess if they choose you to relationship with, and you are not clear and confident in what that means for you. If you don't know what relationship means for that person, whether it's life, career, or business, then it's going to end up becoming their mess when they end up dealing with you. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your mess if you choose someone else to relationship with and they aren't clear and confident in what that means for them. Which means that everybody needs to have a clear understanding of what these 3 levels of relationship means for them. What are your desires? What are your boundaries? Right? If you're not clear in those things, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to move forward. And if you don't have any diversity and inclusion, it's going to be difficult for you to know what you're missing, right? Because you only get exposed to the world that you actually touch, all right? So give yourself an opportunity through your desires, through your boundaries, and through diversity and inclusion to tell people, this is what matters to me in a close personal relationship, and for you to attract the people who agree with you and want those same things in a close personal relationship. Because close personal relationships are a lot of work. They take a lot of energy. They take a lot out of you. And if it's not meant for you, it's just a lot. So you want to make sure that you're finding the right people to pair up with in close personal relationships, whether they're for your life, your career, your business, because like I said, you don't want to be giving nobody else mess to deal with, and you don't want to be dealing with nobody else's mess, all right? So let's talk about how you can get clear in your close personal relationships. This is how you do it. I'm going to give y'all the whole script. Bottom line, you want to go from level 2 to level 3. You want to go from your intrapersonal relationship with yourself, where you have personal impact, right, to your close personal relationships with other people. This is where you can have deep interpersonal impact in your life. So you have personal impact on yourself through your intrapersonal relationship with yourself, and then you have deep interpersonal impact with others through your close personal relationships with them, whether it's in life, career, or business. But these interpersonal relationship you have with yourself is all about your relationship with the different aspects of your identity that you hold dear, that you feel like are expressed on a day-to-day basis because you are solidly walking in that identity. You have chosen it. You stand 10 toes down in who you are, and it definitely models for what you're going to be and do in this world, right? So you feel a certain way about your relationship with your identity in life, at work, and in business. But when it comes to close personal relationships, trust, they feel a certain way about the different elements of your identity that they're getting exposed to. If you're standing 10 toes down in what you have a solid relationship with about yourself and your identity, they are getting hit with that as they're having a close personal relationship with you. And that is causing a deep interpersonal impact. That deep interpersonal impact may be benefiting them, it may not. And they may have certain feelings about that in life, at work, and in business. But at the end of the day, you have feelings about who you are and what you do, and they have feelings about who you are and what you do. And that should not change how you feel about what you are and who you are and what you do. You got to stand 10 toes down in how you feel, because at the end of the day, they're going to feel how they're going to feel. And this is life, work, and business. You have to have a solid relationship with what you identify with in your life, so that when other people come across you, they can decide what their relationship is going to be with those different identity elements. And this is how it all ties into boundaries and reciprocity. At the end of the day, how you feel about these identity elements in your life and where that takes you at the end of the day and what you decide for yourself, those are your boundaries. And where reciprocity comes in is because they feel some type of way, they get to decide whether or not they want to reciprocate your boundaries when they deal with you. They don't have to, but that also means that they don't have to deal with you. And that's important to understand. It's difficult to have close personal relationships with someone who refuses to reciprocate your boundaries. They don't have to adopt your boundaries because your boundaries are for you. But when they deal with you, they got to understand it's how I do things in my world. Just like when you go over to someone's house and they say, oh, we take shoes off in my house, right? You take your shoes off. Even if at your house, you walk with your shoes throughout your whole house, right? You might even put your shoes on your bed. I think that's crazy, but you might do that. That's what you have the right to do in your house. So if someone comes over your house and you're like, we don't take off shoes in this house, then you let them know, we don't take off shoes in this house. And if they're unable to reciprocate that, maybe they don't need to be at your house. That's not the level of close personal relationship you're going to have. Maybe we always meet outside the house because that's something you can't reciprocate. And that's something that you can figure out in a communication conversation and get through to somebody and find out what the truth is. But everyone, like I said, is going to have boundaries, and you got to decide whether or not you choose to reciprocate it. But you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who has boundaries that you refuse to reciprocate, and you don't want to be reciprocating in a relationship just because it's a good relationship or it feels good, but your boundaries are being stepped all the way over, and you're not getting what you want out of it. So I'll tell you what it looks like when you have a close personal relationship with boundaries but no reciprocity. Clashing all the time. Boom, 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 boom. Every single time you turn around, there's a pattern of boom, boom, boom. Because you have boundaries, they have boundaries, and there's no reciprocity. Sometimes that happens because you have boundaries and you haven't communicated them, so folks don't even know what your boundaries are, so they can't reciprocate them. And vice versa. This person that you're engaging with has a boundary, but they're not communicating it to you, and you're not picking it up, so you don't know how to reciprocate it. Anytime that happens, there's going to be a clash between those two people in that close personal relationship. That's what it looks like when there's all boundaries and no reciprocity. And whether or not you communicate a boundary, you have boundaries. Whether or not your boundaries are self-honoring, you have boundaries. They might be self-dishonoring, but you do have boundaries. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you understand if you have boundaries, someone else does as well. And you want to try to identify what those are if you're trying to get into a close personal relationship with someone, because otherwise you can't reciprocate it. And if you don't have that reciprocity and all you have is boundaries, just expect to have a lot of fights, because it's going to be a lot of clashing. Whatever a fight looks like for y'all, you're going to have a lot. And at the end of the day, when you have a close personal relationship and you have a whole bunch of boundaries, well, you have a whole bunch of reciprocity but no boundaries, what ends up happening is you're doing what you know works for the relationship. You're just, okay, I know this is what you like, so you give and you go. And we do this in life, work, and in business. But at the end of the day, you never feel fulfilled. You end up feeling like, damn, I didn't get what I wanted out of that, or like that didn't really feel good, or that was like not really good for my soul. That ends up happening when you're not exercising boundaries that are self-honoring for you. You're actually exercising self-dishonoring boundaries, or you're not communicating your self-honoring boundaries, so that person can't reciprocate those, so they're reciprocating something else. Whatever they think, that they want, that you want from them, they're trying to give you that. And that tends to happen a lot in life, career, and entrepreneurial relationships, more than people think. They think it only happens in personal relationships in life, but it happens a lot where people are just like, this is what you're supposed to do when you collaborate, right? This is what you're supposed to do when you work with someone and you partner in business, right? And it's like, no, what are your boundaries and what do you want to do? What does this mean for you? And how can I reciprocate that for you in this relationship? And a lot of people don't think about that. So I've given some examples here on this slide of what some of my boundaries are and how I'm willing to reciprocate that with other people. And at the end of the day, if people want to have a close personal relationship with me, they have to be able to hold me accountable and hold themselves accountable with encouragement, not judgment, when they are around me. I don't care what you do when you're not around me, but this is something that I can't require it of anyone, but if you're going to be in my space and you're going to be dealing with me, it is a boundary that you are reciprocating this, or we won't have a close personal relationship. I may love you from afar because I have big, big, big love for a lot of people I don't have a close personal relationship with anymore because they didn't get with my boundaries and couldn't reciprocate. Because I know it just doesn't make sense if you have relationships with people where you can have boundaries but there's no reciprocity, or you have reciprocity but there's no boundaries. It just doesn't work. I know that from experience, and the reason why it doesn't work, I gave y'all earlier. So this is the lotion to all of that ashiness of having close personal relationships where you really don't feel connected. They're just there. This is why you don't have boundaries and reciprocity. Probably because you didn't learn how to have a healthy relationship with yourself, which I talked about last week, so y'all can go catch that live stream. But at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Boundaries and reciprocity are the fuel, the foundation for close personal relationships. And people just don't be doing boundaries and reciprocity right because they're not clear in self, and they don't know how to develop it because they haven't been given this formula. So I hope this helped y'all. The Ratchet Sage gave y'all a little tidbit for tonight. And if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments. I'm here to support y'all. So I want y'all to think about what I've shared with you today, about how you can develop authentic relationships with those who are closest to you. I want you to drop your takeaways in the comments for me. I would really love to see what you have thought, came up with, what resonated with you from this conversation. Engage in the conversation because I will be responding. It's not someone on my team who responds, it's me, and I look forward to having that conversation with you. I'd love to know what you're thinking about and what comes up for you, whether you caught me live or you are catching the replay. But I also would love to invite you to catch the link that I put in the comments, because that's where you will find my slides from today. That way, whatever resonated with you, feel free to utilize that and get what you need out of it. But you'll also find various buttons with links to ways that you'll be able to connect with me if you choose to want to work with me, so you can activate what you've learned today. Anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or a non-entrepreneur, you can work with me by booking a free consultation today. I would love to have a private conversation with you about what it will take for you to get the clarity, confidence, and resilience, so that you can have the agency for you to be in an actionable, safe space in your life, in your love, and in your work. But for those of you who are ready to learn and start getting some shit done, come get some shit done with folks who know how to have healthy relationships with those who are closest to them, so they are flourishing in their life, their career, and their business. In my community, we clarify your vision so that you can conceptualize it and begin building it in the real world. It is time to get your big vision out of your head and into the world, and you're going to need other visionaries and their knowledge for that. I built a whole community for us to come together and activate our big visions, and you can join for free today. I would love to see you there. This community attracts creatives, thinkers, change makers, community organizers, and activists, coaches, and entrepreneurs. So if that sounds like you, I'd love to see you there. Join me in my Think Chat Masterminds community, and we can get some shit done. Basic access is free, and you can join me in 2 work group office hours that I offer twice a week. That is a total of 4 hours where you can catch the Ratchet Sage and come get some shit done with me. And you can do that for free in my community. I'm all about that life. But if you want to go deeper and engage in all of the community events, because there's so many things that we do in the community to keep you in action that is born of your authentic agency, and in order for you to benefit from that, you're going to want to get complete access, which is $147. So if that's something you're interested in, I do look forward to seeing you there. But if you are a coach and you are watching this live or catching the replay, I do have more for you, so stick around. I don't want you to be out here ashy in these streets. So for those of you who are coaches and are ready to learn and get some shit done with the Ratchet Sage, join me in my signature series of training programs that are designed specifically for coaches who want to stand out in this oversaturated industry on their own terms. That's what I want for you. And if that sounds like something you want to join one of my signature programs designed for coaches, my Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy signature series includes a live webinar with Q&A, so that you can figure out what the 5 pillars of authentic coaching power are and decide whether or not coaching is even right for you. This webinar is wonderful for people who have been told, I would make a great coach, but I don't know whether or not coaching is for me. What does it even mean to become a coach? If you want to know more about that, join my live webinar. You'll be able to have your 1-hour Q&A session after that live webinar to ask all the questions you want about what it takes to develop the 5 pillars of authentic coaching power for yourself, so that you can be confident and clear and resilient in your coaching business. But if you're like, listen, I already know I want to be a coach, I want to go deeper, you want my 4-week workshop, that's where you find out what your 5 pillars of authentic coaching power are by getting started on the journey to figure out what you do as a coach. What do you do as a coach that no other coach can do? What do you have to offer that no other coach can offer? Getting clear in that, and also getting clear in what the steps are that you take people through that creates a transformation for them that only you can offer as the coach that you are. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in that 4-week workshop if you want to get started on that journey to learning what your 5 pillars of authentic coaching power are, and finding out what makes you special as a coach, so that you can get out there and shine and stand out in this oversaturated industry. And that is the only way to get into my 3-month intensive, which I call my Coach Academy. It is by private invitation only. So I will give you a private invitation to join me in that Coach Academy, in a cohort of that Coach Academy, which has no more than 5 coaches in it, where we end up developing all of your offers. We're talking about your minimum viable offers, your forward-facing client offers, your high-end client offers. We get you clear in your authentic coaching process, your authentic coaching method, your authentic coaching style, approach, and niche. What's the target market you're going to be going after? Who are the client avatars that you are gifted and uniquely qualified to help? We're going to be figuring out all of that in this Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy, my 3-month intensive. And the only way to get in is to go through the 4-week workshop, because we want to know, what do you specialize in? I only pump out coaches out of this Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy who are specialists in something that the world doesn't have. There's no point in developing another coach that's out here doing what other coaches are doing. I want you out here doing what you alone are here to do and being called to do, so that you can heal the world in the way that only you can. So I look forward to seeing you do that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, join my Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy today and let's get some shit done. But for those of you who aren't ready to take action or invest yet, like I said earlier, you can always book a free consultation. You can use the link in the comments to do that. And that way we'll be able to discuss the best next steps for you. I want you to get to an actionable, safe space for you and that big vision you've got, whether or not you're ready to take action or invest at this time, all right? And I do ask that you follow me on social media and help me beat these algorithms. I am at Authentic Distinction everywhere except for Twitter and YouTube, where I am at True Distinction. I know y'all know they out here trying to silence Black autistic women out here, and I know y'all won't let them silence me. So follow me today and help me beat these algorithms. And in the event that you clip or share anything that I've said today, please tag me accordingly for attribution and homage. If you don't tag me, if you don't direct it, it will not be respected. So I really appreciate when people do that, because they're out here trying to steal indigenous, ingenious, innovative greatness because they don't have a healthy relationship with themselves or those closest to them. They're just ashy and stuck because they haven't had a chance to work with the Ratchet Sage yet. So let's amplify authenticity so you and yours can bring your ass or your actionable safe spaces everywhere you go. And you do that by paying attribution and homage. Send people to the source so that they can get the healing that you did as well wherever you go. And that way people will do the same thing to you. And those are my bring your ass next steps for y'all. I know after you heard all of this from me today, I know you want to get a better hold on how to develop authentic connections with your loved ones in your life, in your career, and in your relationship. You know, those relationships that are with those who are closest to you in love and in life and in business and at work. And if you wanted further support after our conversation today, I wanted you to know that I am here as a solution with the knowledge, strategy, resources, and tools to keep you in action that is born of your authentic agency. I will be live the same time and same place on these social media streets, and I will be talking about how to develop authentic community relationships. So come next week and let's unpack this. And don't forget to bring a friend, because your friends are likely a part of a community or two that you identify as belonging to. So come learn together from the Ratchet Sage. I look forward to seeing you there. This has been a great conversation, and I thank y'all for being here or catching the replay. And y'all know what time it is. It is time for me to close out this live stream. So here is my countdown. 5, I want you to stay open so that you can explore as you live. 4, I want you to prioritize choice so that you can navigate your life and your world. And again, like I said, you cannot navigate without choice, so make sure you prioritize choice and allow other people to prioritize their choice. 3, I want you to choose acceptance so that you can empathize while you discern and decide concerning yourself and others. And as I said earlier in this live stream, that does not mean that you accept everything. It means you accept it's happening to you so you can discern and decide what you're going to do about it. 2, I want you to encourage agency so that you can innovate when you're alone and with others, because there is no innovation without agency. So you got to allow yourself to have agency so you can innovate, and you want to allow other people to have agency so that they can innovate, okay? And last but not least, 1, okay? I want you to value desire so that you can activate all the things that matter to you from the actionable safe spaces that you create using my signature method of Desire, Choose, Act. I want you to get out there and Desire, Choose, Act. That's the way that you're going to get into an actionable safe space. But it's not as easy as it seems. So you keep checking in with the Ratchet Sage each week on Sunday at 7 p.m. so that I keep giving you little tidbits so you'll learn how to do this. Peace, love, harmony, and blessings, y'all. I am out. I want you to stay authentic and be sure to bring your ass everywhere you go. Peace.